All right, can you say your name and that you created the Bean Zine?
I'm so nervous.
You'll do great.
Hi, my name is Jennifer.
This is Jenna Sawyer, who goes by Hot Dirt Dog on Twitter. In late January, she decided that she wanted to try her hand at making a zine. A zine can be described as any sort of self-published, non-commercial work. Zines are most often reproduced via copy machine to be distributed by hand or, in more recent years, sold or distributed online. Zines as quote-unquote little magazines date back a little under 100 years, with fire at the forefront. The magazine, a product of the Harlem Renaissance authored by Langston Hughes, Zora Neale Hurston, Wallace Thurman, Aaron Douglas, Richard Bruce Nugent, Gwendolyn Bennett, and John P. Davis, described itself as a quarterly devoted to the younger Negro artists. Zines as quote-unquote fanzines, the earliest form of zine that closest resembles what they look like today, started during the science fiction boom of the 1930s as avenues for fans of science fiction magazines to publish their thoughts on both the magazines in circulation and the fandom as a whole. The term was coined during this craze by Russ Chauvenet in a fanzine of his own. Zines today are characterized by their roots in activism, radical politics, comics, horror, rock and roll, the punk subculture, including hardcore, various 90s DIY scenes, most notably the Riot Grrrl movement, and various fringe art subcultures such as Dada, Fluxus, Surrealism, and Situationism. And the creation of the internet has resulted in all of these things colliding into the modern-day zine. And it's really great living in modern day, because you can make a zine using almost anything. Paper and pencil, ink, paint, a computer, whatever's available to you.
If I remember correctly, you did the entirety of I Am My Guts issue 1 in Google Slides.
Yes.
You did the whole thing in Google Slides because that was what you knew how to use?
Yeah. Volume 2 was also in Google Slides. I don't know how to use anything else.
So you're still just using Google Slides. From day one,
Yeah,
you've been using Google Slides for this.
yeah. See, I've been meaning to kind of update my software,
Uh-huh.
and my skill set, but no, Google Slides is kind of where I'm at.
That's Emma Schamberg, the creator of the zine I Am My Guts, the third issue of which has just released.
Where'd the title come from?
Um, the book As I Lay Dying by William Faulkner. There's this one girl, through stream of consciousness, she just goes, "I am my guts," and I kind of liked it. Honestly, I was supposed to reread that last year for AP Lit, and then I didn't.
Whereas Emma made her entire zine digitally, the Bean zine will be hand-drawn from cover to cover, the contents of the piece being a stockpile of ideas that Jenna has been storing up.
Before you made the zine, how did you keep track of what you wanted to be in this? Like, how'd you record your ideas? Because you didn't have Twitter.
I didn't have Twitter, so I went into the notes app on my little iPhone and I wrote everything down.
Can you show us the boot page
Oh, you would
from
like to
your
see
notes
that?
app?
Emma took a similar Notes app-based approach when creating I Am My Guts.
I had a lot of opinions, and my notes app's overflowing. I go to liberal arts school. It seemed like the natural progression of things. I like Twitter, as you know, but I don't really I don't get to be creative like I do in Google Slides on Twitter. I've always wanted to kind of publish writing, but I don't know. Starting a stupid writing account on Instagram doesn't really seem like the natural way that I would want to do that. So I felt like a zine kind of, combined things I like, saying whatever I wanted. I could also remain semi-anonymous so that if it's bad and gets bad reception, no one knows it's me. I kind of appreciated that aspect of it.
Lawson, I'm done.
No way!
Upon finishing the zine, it was a relief to know that the actual creation part of the project had been completed. This brought us to the second step of the process, distribution, something that we hadn't really worked out the logistics of yet.
when you finished the first issue of I Am My Guts, if you remember roughly, how many copies did you make?
Uh, 50.
You made 50.
I think it started with 50, and then the next day I made 50 more. So 100 were issued.
Oh my God. That's a lot.
Yeah. I tell print services I'm sponsored by the English department. So
Oh,
they kind of let
really?
me print however much I want. Yeah, even
Did
though
they
I'm not
charge
sponsored by the
you?
English department. They would if I didn't say I was sponsored by the English department. If you have departmental permission, which I say I do, then you can print things for free.
But you didn't actually have like clearance from the department to print all
Oh
this.
no, the English department does not know who I am. I'm a freshman.
Going beyond that, when you finished printing them, how did you distribute them? What did that look like?
Well, okay, so at first I had like 10 test copies that I like stapled myself. Um, and so I just gave those to my friends and I was like, look, I made this thing. And they all said, oh, this is good, you should make more. And so I did. So at first distribution was like, 10 copies to my friends. And lately, my kind of mode of getting it out there has been bathrooms. There's not very many public places that, like, I don't know. I just feel like if you see a sign that says free, take one in a bathroom, and it seems kind of like I'd take one. And so that's kind of where I get a lot of my numbers.
Jenna took a different route, instead advertising the Bean Zine on Twitter. There, she gained interest and gathered addresses. Fortunately for us, the tech center was open, so we could make copies the same day the zine was finished.
I caught one.
How many Bean Zines did you make approximately?
Counting the original, I made a total of 40 bean zines.
Are you happy with that number, or did you wish you made more?
I'm happy with it because it took a lot of work, because I had to cut all of them and fold them, and it was too much for my little hands.
In total, Jenna made 40 bean zines, the vast majority of which had to be individually stuffed into envelopes, labeled, stamped, and mailed out. All of this was done by hand, and because of this, it took a few days to finish, as there were a few stragglers who requested zines well after the initial interest tweet was made. She started receiving feedback from her followers about 3 days after mailing the zines out. Reception was overwhelmingly positive.
Have you ever made a zine before?
No, I've never made a zine before.
Was it hard?
No, not really. It was not hard to make a bean zine.
Would you do it again?
Yeah.
You would make another bean zine. A follow-up to the
I
bean
would
zine
make-
or a new zine?
I don't know what else I would name my zine, so I would make a bean zine volume 2.
Is there anything that you want to say to people who are thinking about maybe doing like a zine or something like that are hesitant? Do you have anything that you would want to say to somebody who wants to start but isn't sure how?
I use fucking Google Slides. I mean, it is like, it's not the easiest thing in the world. I mean, there's totally a more user-friendly interface, but you can, like, I just think, it's so easy to just start with what you fucking know. Am I allowed to curse? I'm sorry. Start off anonymous if you're worried. Google Slides is always an option. If you Google zine template Google Slides, there is one. It's okay. It's not what I use, but
Do you have any advice for people who are thinking about making their own zines but aren't sure?
No.
You have nothing to say to them.
Yeah. My advice is to get on Twitter, get really addicted, start putting all your thoughts on Twitter, tell someone to kill themselves on Twitter, get banned, and then you'll have to make a zine. That's my advice. And do it on printer paper so you don't have to cut it up.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Although there are parallels in the way that both I Am My Guts and the Bean Zine were made, by no means is that the only way to make a zine, or the right way to make a zine. You can make a zine about whatever you want, using whatever you want. You can give it to whoever you want, however you want. You can write down whatever comes to mind, or you can write nothing at all. A zine is a wholly personal way to express yourself, and hopefully, they'll continue to be made by people like you.
Just too much to deal with. I'm the last kid that should be around.